Hello, welcome to St Michael's Hill. This is the April update. Again, this is going to be one which is going to be focused around things that aren't necessarily the layout, although I do have an update on that. First of all, I will update you on the layout as it is. Then I'm going to talk about the new stock that has arrived at the layout in the last month. And then followed by, I'm going to give you a brief tour of the new location that I'll be doing all of my modelling in. And then after that, I will be talking a little bit about the new layout itself and what to expect and when to expect it. So the main update in regards to the layout itself is that if you're watching this the day it goes up, it is arriving back here today. So I was staying with my parents for a little while before I made the move, and that's where the layout was. And I've not had time to kind of pick it up and bring it over. Kind of required a little bit of a bigger car, so I've sorted that out for the weekend and it'll be coming down. So the first thing is that from next week's video, expect a lot more running shots in the videos. In addition, I'll be working fairly quickly to get the fiddle yard finished. I've picked up some offcuts of wood, and hopefully from that I can get a nice kind of fiddle yard going. It is going to be something that's very simple. Like I said, I'm going to keep it fairly simple. I'm not going to have a full fiddle yard. I'm literally just going to have somewhere off scene where I can kind of mess around with locos and units, and then just send them onto the scene so it can run properly and get some better shots for YouTube, but it also provides a bit more fun to run. So that's what I'm going to be doing with the original layout, and hopefully you'll see that progress fairly quickly now that I've got the space and the time. So like I said, let's have a look at the new stock that's arrived at the layout this month. First is this Helgen cargo wagon. I believe the wagon code of these is an IWB. It's a very nice kind of wagon. Detailing is fairly strong for a model of its age. I believe these are kind of a good few years old now. Some really nice detailing here. I've added an end of train light. I made a video about how to fit those to brake vans, but also the same principle can be applied to this. So if you haven't seen that, the link is in the I button at the top now. Generally though, it's a nice kind of model. Comes apart quite easily. The only thing that I've kind of possibly not massively keen on is the couplings, and it might just be that I've tried it with a loco which it's not particularly compatible, but against the Hornby Class 60 the couplings were well out of position for that loco, so that's just something I'm going to have a look into, but I don't think it'll be a massive deal. I will try at some point with other locos and see what's more suitable, but generally it's a good wagon. I picked it up off of a gentleman from the Dean Park Station Facebook group, which is a great new group that Dave at Dean Park's put together. Some good chat going on in there. So he provided me the second hand. It had a kind of a light weathering, which looks it's really nicely done. And yeah, generally very happy with this purchase. They're not that easy to come across these days. I will be trying to pick up more, but we'll see. In the meantime, it can run in kind of short rakes or be used as a barrier vehicle, as they often were. But yeah, generally very happy with this. The other two items of stock that I've got are Mark III sleeper carriages, both from Lima, and both in similar but different liveries. So the first one is this version in the Swallow livery, and actually this carriage is in very good condition. I bought it second hand off of Facebook through a member of one of the other groups that I'm part of, and yeah, it's in great condition, exactly what I need. So I'll be probably leaving that pretty much as it is. A few modifications I might look to do the couplings on all my Mark IIIs at some point, but for now it can certainly run as it is. This second one, however, was a purchase off eBay. I'm not disappointed with the purchase as such. I knew what condition it was in. I knew it wasn't quite the right livery. I'm going to be looking to do a repaint on this, but yeah, generally it's in need of it. The window surrounds, as you can see, are certainly a little bit chipped. There's some kind of marks on the roof, and it looks like a fingerprint up here. So this coach is probably going to be stripped and resprayed at some point to get it to kind of look like the one behind, unless I come across another Swallow one in the meantime, in which case I will probably do a respray anyway, to be honest. But this goes back to wanting to run the Night Riviera as it was in the late 90s, with this and a Merlin sleeper, as well as some Swallow Mark IIs and Class 47. So that's the stock that's arrived this month, and yeah, a little bit of work to do on some of it, but I'll have still plenty of time to do that. As some of you may have noticed, this is not somewhere which I filmed before. I'm actually in my new garage, which is where the new layout is going to be housed. So if I just come back a little bit, show you what it's like at the moment. I've just moved in, well, a couple of weeks ago, so there's still a bit of storage, there's still a bit of things that need to be dealt with, but generally this is the space that I'm kind of working with. It's about 15 feet long, 8 feet wide, and we'll be housing a layout pretty much full time. So I'm going to be having a scenic section pretty much along all of this wall, so 15-foot length, and then the side opposite will be a fiddle yard with a liftable section to allow access to the door. I will have to just switch the door around so it opens into the house rather than into the garage, otherwise it's going to cause all sorts of problems in this corner here. The area is all kind of set up, so I've got kind of a desk for now and some kind of high-powered lights above it to kind of allow me to, you know, work nicely. I'm planning to kind of have the layout slightly raised, so probably slightly above where this table is at the moment, which will allow me to have storage underneath. As you can see, most of these boxes are kind of layout stuff, apart from the big one at the bottom and the very big one in shot now. The rest of the smaller boxes all contain stock and equipment and tools and things like that, so it's needs to kind of still work as a garage and storage. Also, I'm going to need to store some of this stuff here, the kind of cat stuff. My two cats need to just kind of be away under the layout, so I'm going to be building kind of workbenches, but underneath there'll be a level of storage as well. I might install some shelving units up above here, along here, for some extra storage. This pile of wood down here is going to be used for the fiddle yard if at all possible, so hopefully that will come together fairly quickly. But yeah, this is kind of the space where the layout is going to be. It will take a while to kind of get together. There are a few things that need to be done to the garage initially. It needs to be insulated a little bit better. It's not too bad actually, but the door could kind of use a little bit of work. Yeah, just generally get the place ready for a layout to be built into it, and then I'm going to need to do the baseboards and all that sort of stuff. So don't expect a kind of update on that front anytime soon, although I will be kind of filming things as I go, but be patient to start with. In terms of what the layout is going to be, I've kind of had a lot of thoughts. I'm kind of at a stage now where I think I have a plan together, and actually these sheets of paper are the first kind of fifth of the layouts printed in kind of 1-to-1 size, so I need to start planning them out on the floor and see how it's going to work and whether actually it's going to fit in the space properly, and I can get some of the stock out on it and see if the lengths are right and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you too much about what the layout is going to be at this stage, but I will kind of talk to you a little bit about why it was designed the way it was. I will do a full kind of video on the planning and how I've done it, and show you the program I'm using. As a Mac user, there's not too many options out there, but I've been using Railway Modeler Pro and I found it to be a very, very good tool. But yeah, back to the design. Whilst I won't tell you what the layout's going to be yet, I will tell you about how I kind of came up with the design. So with St Michael's Hill originally, there were a set of kind of 8 objectives. I think it was about 8, might have been less, but there were a list of objectives that I wanted to achieve. So they were kind of written out to start with, and they were things like I wanted to model water, I wanted the layout to be DCC controlled, I wanted points to be moted and things like that. Very basic things, but getting back into the hobby, they were things I wanted to try out before I went for a big build or a bigger layout. So I made sure that the layout as that was achieved all those things, and it did. So this time I've kind of gone for a similar approach in that I've put together a lot of objectives that I want the layout or the layout needs to have, and then I've built a plan around that. So the first kind of one that I wanted is that it needs to be fun. I want to be able to kind of play trains with it, so to speak, but and generally kind of run things and have a lot of fun with it. The layout as it is, the St Michael's Hill one, is great, but it is one that is kind of more of an exhibition style end to end, where you can kind of run trains in and out, but that's it. I would like the ability to have trains running around the whole time if I want to, or be able to kind of run it in kind of more of a prototypical style. So it will be a continuous loop layout, which allows me to run trains in that way. The other thing is I want the realism to be a lot higher this time, both in terms of operation and the way it looks. So I've taken lots of kind of looks online and in books and things of real locations, and I've tried to kind of take some of what I've learnt there. So it's actually based loosely on a place, and uses a lot of those kind of principles on design and things like that. So when I do reveal it, I will talk to you about why I based it on that place and how that's going to work. It won't surprise you to know that it will be DCC. I'm thinking about going into sound, but at this time, still probably not going to be doing that, although it's something that I'm certainly going to consider, but that doesn't necessarily change the design of the layout at all. I think the final thing I want to say is I want to be able to run full-length trains. So I've got a HST rake and some other full-length trains that I want to be able to run, but I also want to be able to kind of run locos and other smaller trains in a kind of more controlled and confined way. So I will just leave that there as a kind of tease, so it's going to include both those types of running. So there's a couple more things I just wanted to say before I go, and they're both around the YouTube and online community in general. Firstly, as of today, I've just hit 450 subscribers, which is mad, and to some people that won't seem like a lot, but for me it just feels insane. I remember getting to 100 subscribers and just being blown away, and getting to 250, and it just seemed unbelievable. So to get to 450 is wow. It really kind of it humbles me that people enjoy what I'm doing. I would be making these videos anyway. I enjoy the process of making the videos. I enjoy helping people if this is what these videos do, or just entertaining them. So I'll be putting them up regardless, but the fact that some people are interested in them is great, and it's wonderful. So thank you to all my subscribers, old and new. The second thing is that you may have noticed at the end of my last video I did a shout out to Gloucester Road TMD, and the reason for that is because of a couple of things. So firstly, it's a great little layout. It's a new channel. I would recommend you check it out. I'll put a link in the description below. But the other thing is, I just wanted to be able to help someone who's got a few less subscribers than me, and whilst I don't believe that I am in any way an influential figure in this community, I do remember when I first started, and it was people like Gary at Cheeky Tech, Dave at Dean Park Station, Jason at Barnabas Junction, Richard at New Junction. They all kind of helped me in various ways, or gave me shout outs in their videos, or just generally inspired me. And some of them certainly use their platform to help me out, and it's massive. And I just wanted to kind of give that back. So at the end of every one of my videos, I'm going to be just kind of putting a link to one of my favourite new YouTuber channels, probably with less subscribers than me. I kind of don't see the point in trying to, help someone like, Dave at Dean Park out. I don't think that's going to do anything for anyone, but I will try and find YouTube channels that I've come across that I'm enjoying, that are around the railway kind of world, either kind of real life or models, with less subscribers than me, and I'll maybe give them a shout out. And I'll continue to do this however big this channel gets. I think it's always good to just help other people out, and people who are slightly newer than me. And it was something that, when it happened in the past for me, or even now, it's something that I really, really appreciate. So I wanted to kind of be able to give that back. So check out the end of each of my videos, and there'll be someone new that I think is worthy of checking out. And if you like my content, I'm sure you'll like theirs, because it's probably even better than what I'm doing. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say. So hold on to the end of this video, and there'll be a new layout that I'll be giving a little heads up to. So thanks you again for all the support, and I'll see you again soon on St Michael's Hill. Bye bye.
Thanks very much for joining me today on St Michael's Hill. This week's recommendation is going to be Bayer Hill, a great kind of loft layout, criminally undersubscribed, so check out the channel now and subscribe. Thanks very much. I'll see you again next week. Bye bye.